Hello, everybody.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Alyssa St, file number 24-02549, council appearance.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee appearing on behalf of Alyssa St.
Are you Alyssa St?
Yes, hello.
Hello. Okay, Ms. St, I do have a felony complaint here. The allegations that I'm going to arraign you on state that on or about April 27, 2024 at 462 East Edgewood Boulevard, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you allegedly committed the act in count 1 of stolen property, receiving and concealing a motor vehicle. The allegations are that you did buy, receive, possess, conceal, or aid in the concealment of a Toyota automobile, a stolen motor vehicle, knowing or having reason to know or reason to believe that the motor vehicle was stolen, embezzled, or converted, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.5357. It's a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years and or $10,000 or 3 times the value of the motor vehicle, whichever is greater. To impose the fine of 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount, or it must be determined by a trier of fact at trial. Do you understand the charge read in the maximum penalty, ma'am?
Yes,
You have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Lee is going to represent you today for the purpose of your arraignment only, but you do have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances. You have the right to have an attorney represent you if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can have an attorney appointed at the expense of the public to represent you. Do you understand that?
yes,
You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You can plead guilty, you can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, this matter will continue all the way through to a jury trial. You have the right to a preliminary examination in this matter because you're being charged with a felony. You have the right to have that examination within 21 days of the date that you're being arraigned, so that's today's date, unless you waive the timeline, or unless the court finds good cause to go beyond the 21 days. Do you have any questions so far?
no, ma'am.
You have the right to require the prosecution establish sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and sufficient probable cause to charge you with that crime at the time of your preliminary examination. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to proceed all the way to jury trial and require the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at your trial. They cannot use the silence against you. You can waive your silence and testify at your trial if you'd like. You can subpoena witnesses to testify on your behalf or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you.
Okay,
Do you have any questions about your rights so far?
no,
Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, she is, Your Honor.
The court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before me, Judge Kristen Simmons. It's going to be Friday, October 11th at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before me, Friday, October 18th at 9 o'clock in the morning. Did you get your notice to appear for those dates and times?
yes, I did.
Are you currently on probation or on parole?
No,
Are you employed?
no.
Where do you live?
With my mom, St. Mason, Michigan.
Spell the street?
You said what?
Spell the street. Okay, what's your phone number? You're currently on bond on another matter?
Yes.
You're currently on bond on more than one matter?
Yes, I
You
believe.
got a bond in Fourth Circuit Court, in a matter in Fourth Circuit and 56th Circuit?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
Okay, but you are sure that you have two matters that are pending?
Yes.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Steed reports that she had a domestic violence conviction in 2019 and currently has at least one felony pending for resisting and obstructing. There is a retail fraud pending as well. I'm not sure what degree, if it's at the circuit court, could be first degree. She has lived here in the Lansing area her whole life and continues to reside here, intends to participate in these proceedings. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yeah, she has police officer assault, resisting, obstructing felony pending in the Fourth Circuit Court that was recently bound over. And then it looks like she also has a felony controlled substance and another police officer resisting, obstructing that's bound over at the 56th Circuit Court.
Yes.
Therefore, personal recognizance bond will not be appropriate because you are currently out on two separate bonds when allegedly having picked up, or actually, what was the date of this alleged? Actually, I think these were alleged before she was charged with these. Okay, and this is, I think this case, date of incident actually predates the ones that are pending. So I will grant her a personal recognizance bond. Bond is set in the amount of $2,500. Personal recognizance, you need to report to all of your court dates. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
And you got your notice to appear before me. You're going to be appearing before me on the 11th and on the 18th.
At 9 in the morning.
Exactly. While out on bond, you're not to use, purchase, or possess drugs, alcohol, or marijuana unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to engage in assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to possess a firearm, ammunition, or weapon of any kind, and you must report to Ingham County Pretrial Services within 48 hours of your release. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any questions about your bond conditions?
Did it say there was a hold in another county or anything, or does it not tell you that?
It doesn't tell me that you have a hold. It does tell me that you've been bound over. I don't know whether or not you have a hold in one of, the date seemed relatively recently. It looks like one case was just last week that you were bound over on, so I don't know if you have. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're all set, ma'am. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Danielle Brown, 24-02974. Counsel appearance.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee appearing on behalf of Danielle Brown.
Okay, Mrs. Brown, I do have a misdemeanor complaint that you need to be arraigned on, alleging that you did on or about October 1st, 2024 at the area of 1205 Pierce Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, commit the act of assault or assault and battery. The allegations are that you made an assault or assault and battery upon the following person, that being a Pamela Eaton Champion, contrary to NCL 750.811. Count one is a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to counsel. Mr. Lee is going to represent you today for your arraignment. You have the right to have an attorney represent you if you're questioned by law enforcement. You have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your future court dates. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, You can ask to have one appointed at the expense of the public. Do you have any questions about your right to counsel?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter is going to continue all the way to your jury trial. You have the right to a jury trial, and you enjoy the presumption of innocence. So that means you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt at trial by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you, or you can waive the silence and testify if you like. You have the right to subpoena witnesses on your behalf that will testify and present evidence that you believe show a defense to this charge. And you also have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses in court that the prosecution calls to testify against you. You're currently scheduled to be before Judge Cynthia Ward Tuesday, October 22nd at 1:30 for a pre-trial conference. You can appear via Zoom. Did you get your notice to appear in the Zoom instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about your rights so far?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to be considered for pre-trial release from the jail. We'll discuss your bond in a moment. Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, she is, Your Honor.
Court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am. I run a business out of my home. And I'm in school full time.
You run what kind of business out of your home?
I'm in culinary school, so I feed people. So I cook my food. So basically I do catering, but I cook it all at home and then people can buy the food from me from my house.
Is there a name of this business?
Sardines.
What's your home address?
Climax Street, Lansing, Michigan, 48912.
What's your phone number? You currently on probation or on parole?
No.
Do you have any other court dates pending right now?
Oh, ma'am.
How many times have you missed court in the past?
Never.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Client reports some contact previously with the criminal justice system, a retail fraud in 2008 and embezzlement in 2009. Had some recent contact in 2022 where she pled guilty to 2 counts of R&O. But she has appeared and intends to appear in this matter, has lived in Lansing all her life and doesn't present as a flight risk. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bond is set in the amount of 500 personal recognizance. While on bond, you need to make sure you appear to all of your court dates, okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to make sure that you don't engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You understand that?
Yes, I will.
You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever Pamela Eaton Champion is. That's where she works, it's where she lives, it's where she goes to school, where she food shops, dry cleans, works out. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of that, you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to have contact directly or indirectly with Pamela Eaton Champion. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're not to use, purchase, or possess a firearm, ammunition, or weapon of any kind. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. Additional matters for the record, counsel.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Justine Campo, 21-03293. Maybe we're not ready on that one. Should I call that one later?
Oh, I think that's not too bad.
No. Campo? To,
Were you taking a nap?
Yeah.
You almost missed your turn. I mean, that would be devastating because you might have to wait till tomorrow. Okay, I have here File number 21-03293, council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender John Lee appearing on behalf of Justine Campo.
Okay, Ms. Campo has a pending breaking and entering illegal entry that's pending before Judge Ward. And she can't seem to get to court. Maybe she's sleeping through her alarm. Mr. Lee, do we know what happened?
She reported to me, Your Honor, that there was some confusion and she was not aware that she was supposed to be in court that day.
What was the confusion, ma'am?
I thought that court date was this coming up court date that I have.
What coming court date that you have?
It's on the 11th or the 13th, I believe.
You have another matter pending? Do you have another matter pending?
Yes, I have a few.
In which court?
Am County, I believe.
Not this court, though, because we don't see you.
Oh,
However, that excuse is not quite gonna cut it. December 20th, 2021. Defendant failed to appear for arraignment. March 13th, 2023. Defendant failed to appear for court. Defendant says, I wasn't aware of the court date. Defendant shows up in October 13th for the second bench warrant. Says, I don't recall. Defendant failed to appear October 30th, 2023. Defendant failed to appear December 11th, 2023. Defendant failed to appear July 13th, 2024. Defendant failed to appear September 10th, 2024. You can address bond, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Your Honor. She does have one other matter pending, just for the record, but it's in the circuit court and she's scheduled for sentencing according to our notes on October 4th, 2024. We understand the court's concerns and appreciate that the court will set bond accordingly.
Yeah, she can't keep up with her court dates, and the record that I have here indicates she's not employed, so that there's no excuse why she can't get to court on time. I don't even understand why she's tired, because she's not employed, so that means she should have plenty of rest. Nonetheless, bond is set at 5,010%. All of the other bond conditions will continue. You're gonna appear before Judge Ward October 22nd at 9:30. Do you have any questions?
no.
You're all set.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.